this is Kina Knisley, and this is Real Talk about Real Estate. And today I have Toby Boyce from Columbus, Ohio. And I know nothing about Columbus, Ohio, Toby. So how is it?
A lot of people only know Columbus, Ohio because of the Ohio State University. So we are home to the Buckeyes.
I've heard of them.
But a lot of people, it's gone crazy here lately. About 5 years ago, Intel did a national search to come up with its second, where they were going to build, around COVID time, everybody wanted to bring the chips back home. And they had to build the world's largest chip processing plant. It's like the total project was going to be $80 billion. And everybody, I think in America, even here, they picked where? They picked a little town in just northeast of Columbus. Yeah, so basically, and since Intel came, or announced it was coming, there's been some changes and delays and all that kind of fun stuff. You know how it is when you have buildings that big. And, but since then, we've had 5 or 6 very large projects coming this way, and it's really cool. There's the local business guys are calling it the Silicon Valley of the Midwest, which everybody says that, but anyway, with what we're doing is we are one of 2 cities in the Midwest that are actually projected to grow over the next 25 years. And by grow, we're expected to go from, I believe we're just over 1.4 million people now in the metro, and they're expecting about 2 to 2.5 by 2050.
Wow. So are they building a lot of new homes?
Oh, yeah. We have to build roughly 27,000 units per year to meet projected demand. We're already significantly behind that, but it's amazing. I mean, it's kind of sad as a farm boy. It's kind of sad to see the farmland disappearing, but at the same time, it's pretty amazing to watch these properties that were, 100, 150 acre farms are now becoming 300 unit housing developments. And as fast as they go up, they get sold. It's crazy. I mean, it is slowing down, just like everywhere else. We're slowing down a little bit. But it's not, compared to our sister cities, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh, which are all about 2.5 to 3 hours away. Every single one of them is projected to lose people over the next 25 years. And in fact, all 4 of them have downward trends in population already. And, because of the Rust Belt and people moving from the Midwest to the Southeast and to other places. But Columbus just continues to explode. So it's really cool. It's kind of cool. We live in a town about 15, 20 miles north of Columbus. We moved here in 2002, and there was 25,000 people that lived in this community. Fast forward now 23 years later, there's the last projected census number for 2025 was 47,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah. So
now do you guys have the infrastructure to support that? The gas stations, the roads, the shopping centers, the grocery stores?
We're working on it. Well, and I say that because the new places that are going up, yes. Unfortunately, I live in Delaware County, which is annually the fastest growing or second fastest growing county in the state. We had, right now, I think there's 125,000 people living here, and they're projecting by 2050 we'll be over 225,000.
Oh my goodness!
But it's just
prices like. I mean, it might be a good place to invest in some buy and hold rentals.
Yes and no. No place is good for that right now, because because the market exploded with those.
Yeah.
But right now we're still affordable compared to national numbers, compared to where we were, 5-7 years ago. We're not. If you took and you looked at a pre-COVID, actually looked at pre-2007, pre-recession, if you looked at a growth chart of Ohio prices, it would be up a little, down a little, up a little, down a little. Kind of like the landscape everybody thinks of when they think of Ohio and Indiana, flat. You know, we're 3 to 5% up, 3 to 5% down. That was it. It was just steady. And it was really kind of neat because we were considered like the average American town. And you go out post-COVID or post-recession, and then even post-COVID even more. It just, you know, we bought our house here 2004. We bought our house, $156,000 for an 1,800 square foot house. No big deal. We thought about selling it last summer and buying some land and building a house. And we were going to be listing it if we did a little bit of renovations, upgraded the kitchen, stuff like that, a little bit. Nothing serious, you know, maybe $25,000. We were going to be listing it for $350,000.
Oh my goodness.
So we have a lot of paper wealthy people right now because we got a lot of people that have lived in these houses, and you're seeing, like nationally, you're seeing the trends of people staying in their houses getting longer. You know, so people, the average turnover in most of the developments around here is now, it was 7 years, even maybe 10 years ago, it was about 7 years when I was doing a lot of farming, you know, the old geographical farming. And when I was doing that, it was 7 years. Now it's over 10 is the average ownership span. So people are buying them and staying here.
Yeah.
And which is good and tough.
Well, yeah. Good for them.
Yeah, I mean, that, you know, average wise around here, the whole Columbus metro, I did a search just minutes before we got on, was $390,000 is your average sale price. Okay. Which is good. I mean, it's high. I think it's high, but I'm also old, you know.
Yeah, my average is 117. Our average price point for a single family home is 117. Which is just soul crushing for some people, because some people will never buy a single family home. You just can't.
Well, I think Hawaii is one of those places that it's known for that, isn't it? That it's always been kind of
we don't crash. Our prices just, you know, we appreciated, you know, on average about 3.5% to 4% last year. Even with the crazy, you know, economy, we still appreciate. We bought our house. We've been here 14 years. We bought our second house for $800,000, put 180 to rehab it because it wasn't livable. So we're in under $1 million. It's worth 1.6 now. We just had an appraisal done. So, and we've had it almost 8 years. So 600,000 in 8 years, which is incredible.
Yeah.
If, you know, you have the ability to buy something in Hawaii, just wait. I mean, that's real estate anywhere, right? It's a buy and wait game, but
the challenge here is that we have too many people. It's like everywhere else. We have the same issue. We're different numbers, but the same issue. Because, you know, what was a starter house, you know, was $100,000. I mean, or even let's go even into the inner city, you know, into Columbus, into some of the less desirable neighborhoods some people have. You know, you could buy investment property there as early as, I mean, during COVID, I was doing this with people. So 2020, 21, 22 for $25,000 to $30,000.
Oh, wow.
Those same properties are now to $115,000, $125,000 with no changes. That's the concern is, you know, nothing else has changed. They're still the same dump. And I'm going to use that because, I mean, at $25,000, you're buying what you're buying. You're buying a frame. You know, basically most of those houses they needed significant upgrades to become livable and to become rentable. And, but what they did do, you know, they give you that opportunity to buy something, put sweat equity into it. And it's, you know, kind of, it's always been, exactly. You buy something, you put some money into it, then you got something of value. The problem right now is there is no sweat equity value. Opportunity, I shouldn't say, there's very limited sweat equity values. I've got probably a half dozen guys in my database that, you know, were investor, flipper kind of people. Yeah. And I shouldn't say flippers, that's a negative word. Rehabbers.
Yeah.
They weren't the guys that did the shoddy work. They were the guys that came in, truly built the house right, and keep moving. And but I don't have anything to give them. There's just not anything out there. And there's nothing, because there's not, he needs to make money or she needs to make money. And there's not any room.
No.
Because everybody thinks they can get they can get the max price for their house. And they are. That's the other issue.
That's what we're seeing here too. It can be a fall down piece of junk. They're going to pay $1 million for it. I was big in investors for years, and now I'm lucky if we get one. I'm still submitting the offers, 5 or 6 a week, but I'm lucky if we get one a month to get accepted. It's just because your other investors are coming in higher. I don't know who's running their numbers, but I don't know how they're doing the rehab for less. But yeah, we're seeing the same thing, that it's almost not impossible.
Yeah, and so the challenge we have is that it's the same thing. Obviously, it's the same concept. You have people that are saying, "Hey, I want to buy a house," and like I had a client about a month ago, and his mom and dad built this house in 1962. Built the house. She lived there up until she went into the nursing home this spring and passed away. So we were going to sell the house, and it needed some upgrades, nothing serious. I mean, it was a house of a 89, 92-year-old woman, whichever she was. So it just needed some love, nothing serious, nothing structural, nothing big. We priced it out now, and it's literally right underneath of the departing runway path for Columbus Airport. So about every 4 minutes, you have to stop and you have to let a jet fly over. And then you listen. So it's not a neighborhood that's seen a lot of appreciation. I mean, it's one of those places. It's a good blue collar entry level thing. We listed that house at 150. Actually, I shouldn't say that. That's the wrong term. We never listed the house. We started looking at the house at 150. Within hours, I threw it out to a handful of people that I knew had a strong investment base, and we were pushing 200,000 within hours. And I'm going, how are they going to make money? These were rehab guys. These weren't buy and hold. Because that's what it was. To me, it was a buy and hold play. Because the price was 150. It didn't need enough work. It was, you couldn't get the good deal to sell. Yeah. And so, but we had rehabbers coming in, and I'm like, boy, I hope you're learning well and you're not getting burned. Unfortunately, during the recession, I got in real estate 2006, and had a beautiful fourth quarter, came out of the gate strong, and then didn't sell another house for a year and a half.
Wow.
Well, actually, it was a year. It was about a year before I found short sales, and I started doing short sales, and I was doing 25 to 30 short sales a year at that point. And but what I started to get into was I would get these investors who had been listening to the gurus, who told them, buy with no money down, do this, do this, do this. And all of a sudden, the bank calls your note. And you're sitting here with absolutely no leverage. And we're trying to short sell it and get it out of there. And I mean, at these points, we had houses we were selling for $8,000 to $10,000.
Oh, wow.
And they were $8,000 to $10,000 houses. They were, a couple of them literally, and I did not like the people I worked with necessarily. I shouldn't say didn't like them, didn't respect them. You got guys that are landlords that got houses with no floors. Stuff like that, stuff that, they were selling. And so we were getting, doing what we could to help everybody involved, getting the tenants to a new place that actually was livable.
Yeah.
And, but what I saw was these gurus were telling them how to do real estate. And then the gurus were telling them how to do a short sale. Now, the only person that made money on these were the gurus.
Yeah.
And, so I'm just nervous of the gurus that we have now. Are they setting these guys up for failure? But that's a different story for a different day.
You just got to be careful with your numbers and, get a trusted agent that's not going to give you inflated values, right? And that's what I'm seeing here is a lot of, look at that. I'm like, there's no way you're making money. But, and then it comes on the market, 300,000 more than it should. But
and it sits for a couple of days until they accept it.
Yeah,
till they make the adjustment, or maybe it doesn't if it's
till they lower the
people.
price. And we're seeing a lot of short sales now. That wave is coming. I've got quite a few. We have a lot of military who bought during 21, 22 and overpaid. And now we just can't get that price. And so lots of education going on about short sales and the impact to your certificate of eligibility.
I was going to say, that is very scary. I've done 2 military short sales, and I never lost sleep over, short sales and all that stuff, because I was helping somebody do this. The military ones, I lost sleep because I'm literally, if I screw up, he loses his job, he loses his clearance, he loses everything, and his family's sitting here with nothing. And I'm going, okay, we have to be so careful about how everything's worded, everything's done, because, a short sale he was high enough up. One of the guys was high enough up that if it had been termed a short sale, he would have lost his clearance.
Really?
Because let me rephrase that. I was told that he would lose it.
Yeah, now, they lose their eligibility for 2 years, so they cannot go use their VA loan again for 2 years.
Well, this was his actual clearance, like his clearance for doing his job.
Yeah, his security clearance.
Security clearance was compromised because they considered a short sale to be like a financial distress that could create an opportunity for him to be persuaded by somebody.
Yeah.
And so that was very scary to me. And I don't know how much of it was fear mongering by people talking to him, because he was the one that was telling me the story, or how much of it was true. But it made me lose sleep at night, because it doesn't matter if it's true or not. He thinks it's true. So I have to make it.
It is a lot of hand holding, but a short sale is better than a foreclosure.
Oh yeah.
Or, and they just can't afford it.
These guys, they were current on the mortgage. They were current on everything. He had just been transferred from Columbus to Newport News, and there's nothing he could do. He was told he was going to be here for 5 to 10 years. 3 years in, they ship him to Newport News. And so his family was living here with a house they couldn't sell. And he's living in Newport News in an apartment they can't afford, because they've got mortgages on both sides.
Yeah.
So we were doing our best to get him out, and we got him out, and it worked. And I don't remember exactly how it worked, because that was 15 years ago, but we got it done. But
it is working,
that was the really interesting thing.
It's losing that eligibility for a couple of years, but the latter is worse, right? Having a foreclosure.
I was going to say, foreclosure, you lose it for 7 years. So, a couple of years on a VA loan, or lose all options to buy a house for 5 to 7 years.
Yeah, it's not. Now, do you have a lot of military that come to Columbus?
We do not have a ton. We have a base, not a base necessarily, a distribution area here. It's a supply center in Columbus. So we do have some military, but we don't have nearly the presence you have in some of the, like Kentucky has a lot more presence with that. Pennsylvania has a lot more presence with that. Even Michigan has some more presence with that than we do. We don't have, I don't think we have yes, we have a naval port up at Lake Erie in Cleveland. So that is the only place I know of that is actually like a base type of concept. The supply center is just kind of like, basically it's a logistics hub of getting things from point A to point B. And we just have, because we sit in the middle of America, geographically, we're eastern Midwest. But if you look at the population of the continental 48, we are within an 8-hour drive of 80% or 70% of the people that live in the United States.
Really?
Because we are basically halfway between New York and the Mississippi River. And 8 hours, we can get down into Georgia. So we're literally covering the whole Northeast corridor in 8 hours. And so that's what's logistically driven us. And with the interstate system, the way it is, Columbus, Indianapolis are exploding. We have, every time I get our local business paper, it seems like Amazon is building another, facility here. We just got one.
We just got one.
I think we're up to 5 of these million-square-foot buildings that like 8 people work in, and but yeah, it's amazing to me at how much growth we have in these, and it's very interesting. You'll go east of town and south of town. We have Columbus is where a lot of the plants are growing, and a lot of the plant industry is going in, and a lot of these farms of data centers are going in. North of town is where everybody wants to live. So it's very interesting. So it's like, and it's 45 minutes to get from my house to, say, the south side of Columbus. So it's not a bad drive, but at 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, it's not a drive I want to make.
Yeah.
It's just too much going, but it's not bad. We don't have rush hour. We're not that big. We have maybe 15 minutes. If you don't time it perfectly right, you're going to get into a backup. But, for the most part, it's a great place to live and work because, everybody says we got the seasons. We have all 4 seasons, which unfortunately this weekend, I think we're having 3 of the 4 within 12 hours. Right now it's raining and just very blah, like a late fall day or maybe an early spring day. Tomorrow it's going to be 65 and bright and sunshiny.
Wow.
And Sunday we're expected to get our first snow.
Oh my goodness. All in 1 week of all the seasons.
Oh yeah. I think Sunday morning they were talking, I think tomorrow night it's supposed to start getting cold. But it's going to be like 65 something tomorrow. But then tomorrow's low is like 28. Because the cold front hits like about 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and it just collapses. So that's one of the things we were in. We adopted our daughter from out in Los Angeles, and so we spent 2 weeks in Los Angeles in September, and we went down to San Diego with some family, and I'm like, so what's the average here? And they're like 80. I'm like, what? No, come on, no. 80. I'm like, LA's like, we're far enough south. It's 80. I'm like, wow, that would be very nice. I can see why San Diego exploded. Because it was absolutely beautiful the end of September, where, LA was LA.
Yeah, but, and I don't know. Winter's hard here just because it's 80 and it doesn't feel like Christmas and it doesn't feel like the holidays. I've been here 14 years. I do love the snow, but my children want to come home for Christmas. So we go to the beach. Every Christmas we go to the beach.
Well, you make it yours.
Yeah.
You go to the beach on Christmas. Okay. I know a lot of people around here that fly out of here on Christmas because they want to get away from this weather and they go to Florida, they go to Georgia, they go to the South Coast, the Gulf of Mexico, because it's a 2-hour flight to get from here to, Jacksonville or whatever. And it's warm enough you can swim.
Yeah, it sounds super convenient for travel and road trips. Not so much here. No road trips. So,
I used to laugh because when we were in LA, we were thought about going to a Dodgers game, and it was like an hour and a half before the game started, and my wife's cousin's like, we can't go. I'm like, why? I said, it's like 2 miles up the road. He goes, no, we won't get there in time. Yeah. So I brought him they flew out to Columbus, and I took him up to the Cleveland Indians game, or Guardians, excuse me. And I explained to him that within it was a 3-hour drive, I can see four, Reds, Pirates, Indians, or Tigers games for major leagues. Then in football, we've got these, and we got hockey here in town. And of course, Ohio State's legitimately a professional sports team. So I'm like, we're talking, and he's like, I hate you. Wow. It takes us an hour and a half to go 4 miles. We drove, and it's, it takes 2 hours to get to Cleveland, and we were probably 115 miles away from it. Because it's 70 miles an hour the whole way there, because it's just farmland. And so it was kind of cool. That part's kind of cool about it.
That is. Wow. Well, I have learned so much. So thank you so much. So if you know anybody who wants to buy, sell, or invest in Columbus, Ohio, it sounds awesome. I can get you connected with Toby, or you can find him on Google. I'm sure he's got his business page out there. But this has been awesome. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you as well. Have a great day.